When you have your Kundalini awakening, you will experience a lot more synchronicities and coincidences. Now, we all actually experience these on a day-to-day, but if you've not had your awakening yet, you might not notice them as much. Or maybe your mind's busy, lots happening in the world that you just don't see them or pay attention to them. When you have your Kundalini awakening, it's like your mind and attention just completely focuses on it and you cannot miss it. It's like, look at me, I'm trying to tell you something. And these are signs from the universe, but also from your spirit guides. They are trying to communicate something with you. And it's not necessarily information as in, I think you should do this with your life. It can sometimes just be an emotional feeling of comfort or an emotional feeling of, I'm not sure about that. It's kind of like clarifying that your emotion that you're feeling at that point in time is correct. So, for example, if you were looking to leave a job and you saw 999, so 999, if you look it up online, tends to mean end of cycles. So that would be a good number to see if you're looking to leave your job, because it indicates that, well, it's the end of a cycle, it's the end of the job. And then if you saw 888, new opportunities, new beginnings, then that's showing you that, oh, end of cycle, but something new is perhaps coming up for you. So these are called angel numbers, and you can look them up online, but they tend to be like 111, 222, 333, and so forth. But sometimes these numbers also might be like 113 or something specific to you, like your birthday, for example. And what happens with the brain, though, from a psychological point of view, is that when something grabs our attention, we start to notice it more. So, for example, if you buy a red car, you'll then start to notice more red cars. And it's not that there's more red cars out there, it's just that your attention wasn't paying attention to it until you got the red car. And so you could think the same with the synchronicities of, like, if you saw the same number over and over, you begin looking for that number. But even if that is the case, that number's trying to tell you something about your emotions or something that you're feeling, or to snap your attention back if maybe your mind's been wandering and then you suddenly see that number. Or perhaps you've been feeling doubt about something and you get lost in your thoughts and then suddenly that number pops up for you that means something to you. Then it's like kind of snapping you away from those down thoughts and saying, don't worry, you're comforted, we're here for you, that type of thing. I would also say that for me personally, before I had my Kundalini awakening, I actually was the type of person that paid attention to synchronicities. So like I've said in my previous videos, I don't come from a spiritual background, but I did believe that things happen for a reason. I can actually tell you several crazy stories about synchronicities and coincidences. So I had been working as an English language teacher in Japan, and I came back briefly after the big earthquake in 2011. When I went back to Japan after that, I was working for like a big English school, mostly for adults, whereas previously I'd been working teaching little kids in a smaller school. And I really missed my job, I really did. And I was working for this adult school and my visa was about to run out. I tried looking at other schools and none of them felt right to me, even the ones working with kids. I just wanted my old job back so much. And I was about to give up. I was about to think, right, if this isn't going to work, so I'm probably going to go home. Because in order for me to stay even in that adult school I was working in, they wanted me to work so much more to make up a certain amount of hours for me to get the visa sponsorship. And literally as I was about to give up, I got an email from one of my colleagues that I used to work with at the kids' school. Now, this is a very, very small school. There's barely any English language teachers, and the chances of someone leaving are so slim. And the teacher messaged me and she said, one of the English language teachers is leaving. Would you like to come back? And I was like, yes, I would. And so I contacted the owner of the school, and he took me back. And it's like, if it hadn't have happened at that exact moment, what is the chances of that? And then another one that I had was when I moved back to Scotland, I had found a flat, so an apartment, near where my brother lived and my parents. And it was a mid-market one, meaning that you had to have ties to the area and it was really good rent. It was brand new build. It's gorgeous. And so I applied immediately because my brother told me, because he just moved into one of the new houses in the area. So I applied immediately, and so the application went through as far as I was aware, but I heard nothing. So I contacted them like a month or so after, and they said to me that um all of the flats are gone. There's none left. And she said that there's no point in going on a waiting list because no one's going to leave because it's such a nice flat in such a nice area. So I hung up the phone. I was really disappointed. And then I phoned back and I said, look, just put me on the waiting list. It's fine. Like, I'd rather be on the waiting list. And I says, do you still need me to send another application, or do you already have my application? And she went away, got the application, and said, I'm really sorry, but you were actually first to apply, so you should have got the flat. And again, she said, but no one's going to leave because it's such a nice place. And I was like, please just put me on the waiting list. Now, I had written on a piece of paper what kind of my requirements were, what I wanted for my place to live. And this is obviously only renting at the time. And I put, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom flat in a modern building, top floor, nice area, at an affordable price, unfurnished. And I had kind of given up again at this point, so I'd gone to IKEA and thought I'll just get like a really slim desk to fit into this really small space in this flat that I has been renting at the time. And when I was at IKEA, I got a phone call from the lady that was leasing out these new ones, and she said, one has become available because someone's not moving in, but you need to come view it today. Now, this was a random Thursday that I just happened to have the day off work. And I was like, yes, I can come right now. So I went and I got it, and it was a top floor, 2-bedroom, unfurnished, at a great price, in a nice area. It was everything that I had written on my list was the flat. And it was just like, wow, I wrote that down and it actually happened, and it happened in this weird way as well. So if we go back though to the synchronicities and coincidences that happen after your Kundalini awakening, what I would say is that I learned that just because you see a number doesn't mean that that situation is right for you. So the reason I told you those two stories is because I felt like just because these things happened meant that they were right for me. But they actually not necessarily are. Those were. But I was planning on buying a house, which I did mention in my first YouTube video, just as I was going through the initial stages of my Kundalini awakening. And I had seen my Reiki master's name in the address of the house I was going to buy. And I presumed that that meant this is the right house for me, from my old way of thinking of, oh, that's a coincidence, so that must be a good sign. And I did also think, oh, that's strange, because it's not a very common name. And it turned out the house wasn't for me. Then, as the Kundalini awakening started to unfold more, I started to look for like more people to talk to and things, and I was going to go speak to someone that does like tarot readings and things. And I had found someone in, I think it was not too far from where I live, and it was an event, and the address also had my Reiki master's name in it. And I was like, oh, maybe that means that I am supposed to go and speak to this person then. That's a good sign. However, that was cancelled. It turns out the person was really strange and messed me about. And I was like, oh, okay. What I'm learning here is that just because I have a synchronicity or a coincidence does not mean that it's trying to tell me that this is the path to go down. It must be telling me something else. And so just because you see 11133 or whatever in a certain situation does not mean that that is a sign that that situation is right. But what it's saying is listen to your emotions, listen to what's happening, and also to think yourself of how is this the right situation for me? And don't just presume because you're seeing the number that it means that it actually is. And I think that's one thing that I found the hardest with the number synchronicity specifically. Like with the name one, I feel like it's more maybe directing me to go back and have Reiki. It was maybe a sign for that. Or perhaps I was thinking about someone and then their name came up, and that's why I'm seeing it. It's more my kind of subconscious or my thoughts that I'm having are reflecting out into the physical world. And it could be the same with the numbers as well, but I struggled with understanding what the numbers mean. So if you look online, there are like angel numbers, and there's many different people on different websites that tell you what these numbers mean, and they can give you a good indication. But sometimes I feel like they don't match, or they don't really fully explain what has happened to you when you see the numbers or what you feel. And so that's why I would always say to you is when you have angel numbers or synchronicities, etc., is yes, by all means, search them online and see what it says and take the bits that resonate with you, but listen to your gut, listen to yourself and your emotions and what you feel that those numbers mean to you and what that situation means. But don't say yes necessarily to something just because you saw a number. It doesn't mean that that path is the right path for you. So what I would recommend as well is writing down and tracking your synchronicities. So write down the names, the things you see, the numbers, how you were feeling at that point in time. And as you track them over a period of time, you can start to see trends on what something means to you. So I often saw my birthday number and wondered, what does that mean? Like, why am I seeing this? And I came to understand it was comforting for me. When I saw that number, it made me feel comforted. It also kind of brought me back to my new spirituality since my Kundalini awakening, because every time I saw it, it reminded me of my awakening because I started seeing that number immediately. And so you can do the same as well. Even if you've not had your Kundalini awakening right now, then you can still do the same as track your synchronicity. Start paying attention. Look around you. What are you seeing? Yeah, so if you would like to have a Kundalini awakening, I am offering, so my new program, I've actually renamed it, so it's Hara Reiki. The reason I've chosen the name Hara Reiki is as I've mentioned previously in my videos, how I had my Kundalini awakening through the Hara, which is your lower abdomen. And in Japanese tradition and spirituality, is the Hara is like where your spirit energy actually is. And so to me, my spirit energy rose through the Hara up through the heart to the third eye. And so Hara Reiki is my Reiki program that I'm offering, which is a 3-month program to awaken your Kundalini, so awaken your spirit through the Hara. Okay, so yeah, feel free to reach out, and if you're looking for a Kundalini awakening, otherwise I will catch you on the next video. Have a great day.